Hola everybody, my name is Mike, your friendly neighborhood 80s and film fanatic at Filmboy24. Thankfully, 2020 is almost gone. But I do still have a few boxes of this old Ektachrome 100D. And when I say old, it's not really that old, but this is the previous version, the 7285. So I took a couple of my Canon 1014-XLS's and I shot a roll. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's ISO 100. I guess. Oh, hey, everybody. So why do I have two of my three Canon 1014-XLS's on my desk right now? Well, I'm going to tell you. Because I wanted to try, in the interest of complete transparency, I've never shot this film before. Now, this is the Ektachrome 100D 7285. This is the previous version to what is currently available. The reason I have two cameras out here was to simply explain the fact that this front camera, again, I haven't had very long. I bought it this year. The film counter doesn't work on it. To my knowledge, that's the only issue with it. However, let me back up. I thought that was the only issue with it. I have since found out that the focus is not exactly right. This has been my go-to 1014-XLS for the last few years, and I love it, and it works. Everything works on it. So what better way to test a film that you've never shot before than with a camera that doesn't work 100%? Yeah, good job. At any rate, I took this roll of film, this camera that's in front here, to my favorite place to shoot film in Port Orange, Florida. That's Sugar Mill Gardens. Now, if you haven't seen my last video that I did on Sugar Mill Gardens, I believe I shot some Tri-X there. I'll put a link to it up here, and you can look at some of the GoPro footage and see how beautiful this place is. At any rate, I didn't do a whole lot of footage of it outside of the Super 8. I know, settle down. I know, you're thankful. Let's go to Sugar Mill right now. I shot this yesterday, so let's rewind, and we're going there right now. Well, here I am, my favorite spot, Sugar Mill Gardens. Got my camera. God, these trees are beautiful. There's people out here taking some photos. And what else is there to do here? Take photos and check out how beautiful it is. At any rate, I'm gonna get the camera out. It's loaded up with my 100D, and let's see what we get. So I got a little bit of it shot here, and if I'm being honest, the camera is kind of making some funky noises. Now, I don't shoot 100D that often, especially this older stock, and I actually don't use this particular camera all that often. The counter doesn't work on it. That's really the only problem with it, but it's a good strong camera, so I'm not quite sure if the film is spooling properly or not, but I guess if you're watching this video, then it probably is, because I'm not going to post it if I have no film to show. So I guess it worked, but I don't know what kind of noise it's making. Guess I'll find out later. All right, well, that was 50 feet. Let's get this back to the lab, or the 70s kitchen, process it, see what we got. I'll see you in 2 and 2, or see you in a minute. Okay, as you could see, there was some clicking going on, or some weird noises. You probably didn't hear it. I think I just talked about it. And I thought that maybe the issue was with the camera. Now, I also felt like there was a focus issue. As you'll see, you're going to see the film in 1 minute. But I felt like there was a focus issue. It's either the camera that's not focusing properly to the micrometer, to the millichrome. Anyway, it's not focusing properly, or the film isn't meant to be super sharp. I don't know. I'm going to do some more tests with this, so stand by. So before I get too much more into that issue, which we're going to talk about in a minute, because there's so many people out there that are so much better at this than I am and have way better advice. Speaking of that, I am astounded at the number of people that have helped me since I've had this channel. People like Alex in New West and Frank. I'm not going to try to say your name, Frank, because I'll butcher it, but you know who you are. Keith and Ted, and there's a ton of people, and I'm so thankful for everybody that has input for me, because I'm just a fan of film. I'm not an expert at film, as you, I know, have seen over the last 4.5 months. So with that, I'm hoping someone can help me figure out what went wrong in a couple of spots with this particular roll. So without any further ado, let's show. Now this film has been edited a little bit. It's been a little bit of color corrected. Yeah, there's another thing. I'm not a professional when it comes to scanning and color correcting. I've taken a little bit of slack over that. It's okay. I like the criticism and I like to learn. But I am by no means a professional and I'm learning as I go. So judge or don't. But here's the finished product for right now. It's edited down a little bit and I'll explain why in just a minute. Here we go. Okay, so I actually didn't mind that look too much. I think it came out pretty well for me, and I really only shoot for me. I appreciate everybody's input, and if you can make me a better filmmaker, please do. But you do things for yourself, and it looks good to me, so I'm happy with it. At any rate, you can see there are areas that are out of focus, or maybe not quite as sharp, and I did very fine-tune my Retroscan for that particular scan, so I know it was in sharp focus. So it's either the lens on this particular camera or it's the film. Now, the counter doesn't work, the film counter doesn't work, or the footage counter doesn't work on this camera. And I heard some funky noises, and it kept doing some clicking occasionally. It did some weird grinding noises. But it didn't sound like the camera. It actually sounded like the cartridge. So eventually, what felt like 50 feet to me, I got the end. If you've ever used one of these, an 814 or a 1014 XLS, I don't know about any of the other models. But once you get to the end of the roll, bright red letter will pop up. It'll just say end, which means the end of the roll. Well, that happened with this camera. So I packed it up and I came home. Well, when I got home and I popped open the door, there was no exposed written on the film. It wasn't stamped on the film like this. So I got a little bit worried and I pulled this camera out, which I know functions properly and I know that it focuses properly and it works beautifully. So I decided, I made a little tiny mark with a Sharpie on the film, put it into this camera, took it out into my backyard, clicked it a couple times, took it back out, the mark was gone. So I know this camera was definitely rotating the film or advancing the film. However, when I processed it, it did exactly the same thing that this one did. And it was every so often a flash of a bright spot. Here's my theory. First, let me show you what I'm talking about, because I took all this out of the finished film. But let me show you a tiny little clip of exactly what I'm talking about right here. You see what I mean? Now on my timeline, it was typically usually a frame or two, three, maybe four. It would start, it would be bright and flashy, and then it would end. Sometimes it was very repetitive. Sometimes it was just once or twice in the middle of a shot or at the end of a shot. Here's my theory, uneducated guess. I feel like the film, because this film is probably at least 10 years old, was either stored improperly, and I've heard some stories about this stuff. Maybe not just this particular film, and as the camera is trying to advance the film throughout the cart, it's getting stuck in there. I don't know if the film was getting stuck together, or I don't know the breakdown of exactly what happened. I know how the film is wound in here, but I don't know what happens to this film if it's stored improperly. My guess would be that it would probably start sticking together. So I don't know if it was sticking together, and as it was advancing, it would stop momentarily for a micromilimilla, and it would hold it open a little bit too long, and then it would uncatch itself and advance, and then do it again and keep getting stuck and unstuck and stuck and unstuck. Again, it didn't do it all the time, but as you can see, it was not pretty. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. I actually really like the look of this film. I processed it in the 3-step E6 process, and it's very simple to process. I like that there's no remjet on it. That takes a couple of steps away and some gooey fingers away. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't stress to everybody enough what it means to me that you're here. If you do enjoy this kind of thing and seeing this ugly mug once to twice a week, how about punch that like button for me and subscribe? Did I already say I appreciate it? Well, yeah, I do. So if you have a theory on what you think may have happened, leave me a comment, let me know. I would love to know, because I don't want that to happen again. I got 3 more boxes of this that I really want to shoot, so I don't know if there's a better way to do it. Or, I know this camera is functioning properly, so leave me a comment, tell me what you think. And until next time, I'll see you on the next go-around.